there's nothing more important that you can do for your health long term is taking care of yourself. And especially if you're going into pregnancy, to consider what would you want your son or daughter to be taken care of, and how can you do that for yourself. Right?
Are you just mentally and physically exhausted and then you look in the mirror and you don't recognize the body standing in front of you? Well, if so, welcome to the Mindset Mirror Connection podcast. In today's episode, we're going to talk about why you're exhausted, why we keep seeing weight gain, and so much more. So if you're ready, listen up and lean in as we elevate your mind.
Woo-hoo.
Welcome, guys. For those of you new to this podcast, if you haven't already, if you're watching us on YouTube, make sure to hit that subscribe button. And if you're listening on anywhere you listen to podcasts, make sure to give us a follow and always turn on those notifications, click, so that you can know when we drop new episodes. Also, we are going to banter for the first 10 to 15 minutes of this podcast. So if you hate banter, then you can look at the show notes below and see what we're going to talk about today.
That's so okay. One time,
What?
I was on shrooms.
And go.
I remember I just looked at who I was with. And I was like, man, I wish I could just like take my eyes and click, and take because we were like hiking in Colorado. Now every time I hear click, I think of like, I just wish I could be like click, like with my camera with my eyes.
What is it like being on shrooms?
I can't even. I have no words.
Okay.
Floaty. I guess floaty, airy.
Did you microdose them or were you on like?
I've done both.
Oh, interesting.
Yeah,
I have not.
I've done large. I did macro and I've done micros.
Gotcha.
So
large amounts.
Yeah. I've done
excess amounts of shrooms. I've done weed and Adderall.
No other drugs?
Mm-mm.
Oh, really? I've done one other drug too. Well, two other drugs.
Well,
I'm on drugs now.
Yeah.
Just kidding. I'm on.
Yeah. I did Adderall. And that anything that fucks my heart up, I'm like, nope.
I didn't like it. I didn't like that because I was like, this is just making me more like stringent in my life.
Yeah, it was a reason to keep drinking. Which the next one would just be worse than that.
Yeah.
So I was like, this is a problem. We should fix this. You were going to talk about your week.
Speaking of Jenny, she gave me a really nice because I had to do a check-in with her because we're still trying to figure out like my calories and whatnot. And so I was supposed to do a check-in with her on Marco Polo. Do you know what that is?
No.
It's an app where it's like a video messaging app. Okay. It's essentially like text messages so you can watch the video when it's convenient for you. And so I sent her a Marco and I was like, yeah, I actually ended up taking off this last week of working out. And usually I don't take off. I do it in 12-week blocks. Like I take off a week in between programming changes, but this time I took off a week in between my programming, and which I was like, I would never do that before. But my body was just like, ow, and my thumbs and my wrists, they were all hurting. So I was like, okay, if I would tell a client they need to take off, like, why wouldn't I?
Right.
And then I was like, this also would be a really good challenge because like, I haven't ever taken a week off, like in my programming cycle. And so I was like, I probably should do that. And because then I was like, well, if I take do I take a week off in another 3 weeks when I'm done with this cycle? And I was like, you're overthinking this. Yeah, you're overthinking it.
Yeah.
So I was like, I just need to do it. So I did it. And I was like, okay. So I told Jenny and she gave me a really nice compliment of you. She's like, I'm really proud of you. Of course, because she always says that to y'all or us. I'm really proud of you. She goes, and it's really cool because you practice what you preach, and I respect the shit out of that.
Yeah.
And I was like, fuck yeah, thank you.
Exactly.
So I was like, oh, okay, all right. Yeah. But yeah, I took the week off. And then today I went back and it's a 5x5, and I haven't lifted with a barbell since I've had a baby. And so I was like, oh, fuck yeah. And so I squatted and I put on 125 originally. I was like, okay, warm up weight. And then I was like, let's do it. And so I went to 175 and it felt good, but it was like, oh, you know, like that. Like it felt like the lactic acid burnt through my legs immediately.
Yes.
I was like, oh my God.
Like, shit.
Yeah, shit.
Yeah.
Like, oh, I'm going to be sore today.
Yeah.
And so I was like, I'm going to do a second set because I'm a pro. And so I did the second set and I was like, I need to not do this. Like, this is so stupid of me.
Yeah.
Especially because like I still have like the relaxin in my body. So like, the hormone that loosens all your muscles and ligaments and all that to let baby come through.
Interesting.
And so I was like, okay, no, we need to not do that. So I dropped it down to 155. So I was like, pat on the back. Because I normally wouldn't do that either. But at 155 felt like pretty light. So I was like, okay, I mean, give it another week and I'll be doing 175 for the 5 sets. But I was like, oh my God. But yeah, like I was like, oh fuck, I'm gonna be sore like in 3 hours from now.
I picked up like 165 deadlift times 10. And I was like, that's gonna hurt.
Like damn it.
I mean, times 10 was a higher.
Yeah, that's a lot.
Yeah, I was like, ouch.
I didn't think I could do that. I'm
sitting here. It's a 10 by 5. So it's 10 at 5 sets. So, because I didn't want to take it off because I'm just doing 3 exercises. So I do a hip thrust pause with a band into the Romanian deadlifts into kickbacks.
Damn.
And it's all 5 sets. And that was the weight I did with the hip thrust because it's the pause. And I've really been working on the scoop of my hip. So right where I want to hit is that hamstring glute connection.
The cheeky.
Yeah.
Or the shelf.
The shelf. I felt that.
Did you?
So precisely on there. I was like, yes. And it was tough at 165. When I can deadlift or I can hip thrust way more than that.
That's the benefit of like training age. That's okay. Is that like, because today I was like feeling it a lot in my quads and I was like, where's my butt? And so then I like, just whatever I did. And then I felt it in my butt. I was like, there you go. Like, I was like,
there it is.
There it is. Yep.
She's lit up. So my butt cheeks hurt right now as well. So I got a new car. We didn't talk about this.
Oh, we didn't?
We did.
Oh, that's right. Because I saw it after. We were 16-year-old girls and got in the car in Christina's garage.
Yes. I can't say my new car. When my brace is on.
Yeah.
I love driving that car.
Really?
Like I just want to find reasons to drive the car. It's fast. It's smooth. It's just like and it looks good. And I feel boss ass bitch in that car. I want my tint to be a bit darker though, because I feel boss ass bitch. I'm just listening to a bunch of hood rat shit
naturally,
and I'm like, "But me, I'm a mad bitch," and I'm just turning it up and I'm singing, and I'm like, maybe we need darker tint on this car because we're making a scene in the car. But it's all right. It's really helpful.
It
makes me feel good about myself.
Good.
Yeah. Let me tell you guys, I've been talking about this experience of going to church. So interesting. I don't know. I wonder how church people do it because like the message always seems like it's written for you. And I'm like, how do I do that in my business?
What do you mean?
Like the message yesterday was, don't let or I'm going to say this wrong. Like God will put you through the process before he'll give you the promise. As if like, so the story is that, again, I don't know anything about this. I'm just learning. So you guys are learning with me. Is that like the Israelites walked in the desert for 40 years, I guess?
Oh. And those are not the same people that brought the gems to Jesus?
Couldn't tell you.
Okay.
Could not tell you that. And they didn't have anything other than each other. And God would bring them bread each day.
Oh.
Bring it down each day. That's all they had. They had to get through this process to like believe, I guess. And then they were promised the promised land, but they had to go through the process of walking through the desert with them.
Oh, yeah, okay.
Yeah.
All right.
And I was like, this mother effer God. I was like, this message is so spot on because it's everything we talk about. It's like, I said, rather than asking what can you do for me? Like, what do you need from me? And like, instead of what can you do for me? What do you need from me in this process? And it was just like so spot on. And it was so wonderful. I'm like, I get it, you church people. I get it. I'm like, I can get into this. Now, I'm not going to be a thumper of Bibles. But I get it.
Well, that's good.
It's really helpful.
I guess Michael's mom asked if we were going to baptize Olivia. And he's told her no. And I said, oh, what kind of look did you get? And he goes, well, not a good one. I said, okay.
Yeah. That's a choice you can make, you know? Yeah. But it was good. I love this online thing.
The Florida people, the Florida church.
They're great.
Yeah.
Yeah. And I fast forward through all the stuff.
That's nice.
So I can just get to the chunk.
Yeah.
I just want to get the chunk.
Give me the chunk.
Yeah. So that was fun.
Get me to the dessert and then we'll go.
I feel like there's something else, but I don't remember.
Did Mark watch it with you this week too?
Not this week.
Okay.
But normally, like he has twice.
Okay.
So he's been coming to church with me in the living room
with the orange blanket.
Yes. With the orange blanket that he doesn't fold, that I have to fucking fold every morning.
Oh yeah.
What are you watching?
Nothing. baby she's active.
Oh,
so it's
she's walking yet?
No.
Is that a thing?
No, not yet. She's not to crawl, and she doesn't want to crawl. She doesn't want to roll. She doesn't want to crawl.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So she's just like wants to be held all the time, and so it's like okay.
Yeah. I found a new podcast called Serialistly, and it's about murder. Love that for myself.
Isn't that the cereal?
No, it's called Serialistly, and it's this girl, and
is it the same people?
Anne Marie something? Nope.
Well,
she talks about all these different.
Oh,
did you know that there has been like 17 bodies that have been pulled from Lady Bird Lake in Austin, and they're not saying it's a fucking serial killer? Like since 2021, just bodies, and they're just like, oh, it's an accidental drowning. 17. Maybe that's not the number. It's something around there. There was just one last month. And it's just been like every couple months, a body is found in Lady Bird Lake, and they're like, oh, people are just getting drunk on Rainy Street. So I've been listening to her, and I love her podcast because it's like super long. It's like 3 hours.
Oof.
So when I'm working, I'm just like listening to it in the background. So listening / watching that because it's actually a YouTube channel. Also thinking about after the Mary Claire Haver conference, I would like to do the Mindset of Menopause program.
That's a good idea.
Yeah. I think I'm going to roll that out.
Okay.
Yeah. It's like, kind of like Mommy's. And literally take everything I learned there and
dump it
into a program first.
How many weeks are you don't know yet?
But probably I'd have to look at it. Because I want to obviously incorporate the method, but I would change the method maybe a little bit just to.
You want it more informational or more work through? Because like Mommy's is more work through or informational.
Work through.
Yeah.
Yeah. Because that aspect of acceptance of my body now and, kind of grieving this idea of what it used to be able to do versus what it can do now. I want to add an aspect of that into it. And I say grief, I don't mean like you should be sad to go into that. The one thing she said I thought was so like profound. More women will go through menopause than have babies. And I was like, well, yeah, because
100% of women,
100% of women will go through menopause. And did you hear that our government cut the Women's Health Initiative?
Yes, I did.
They talked about that.
Oh, really?
CEO of Honor Health Male jumped up on that stage and a sea of women physicians called that shit out. And I was like,
what do you say?
It's like, this is a travesty. Like, you are all are here to learn and to be educated, but what basically Dr. Haver, Dr. Sims, Gabrielle Lyons, well, she's not as much female,
she's more private,
but she's both. She's longevity. Like what this research that they've done, like there's not going to be a lot of funding. So you're the front line and you have to kind of
decide what
test
is
on your own patients.
Yeah.
They didn't say that, but it's so ridiculous that I just feel like people are blinded by like what's actually happening right now.
Yeah, I feel like there's a lot of things going on that don't really matter that are being projected or like magnetized. And I mean that like not that so this matters, right?
Yeah.
But there's some other things that they're like talking about in the media.
Will you explain it to the people who don't watch the news?
What's happening?
Yeah.
A lot.
The women specific.
Yeah. So the HHS, which is the Health Human Services, as well as other government agencies, are going through and essentially cutting their budgets and cutting their staff in the hopes of saving money for the government because we are in a over $1 trillion debt. And with that deficit, they are saying like this is going to help relieve that. Like we shouldn't run the country in a debt. However, there are some considerations as one, and this is going to get really political, so I'm sorry. If you are considering like the debt, then you need to actually look at the things that are being overspent and not having accountability, i.e. the Pentagon, as well as the military industrial complex. They consistently, when they do their auditing, fail the audit every year. There is no repercussions for that. And in fact, they get a lot of money and actually they just pass a bill to appropriate more money to them. That actually cancels out. So what this DOGE is doing, the Department of Government Efficiency. So the money they have quote unquote have saved has now gone to the Pentagon.
Oh.
So we have now become we've just,
Yeah.
balanced our budget pretty quickly.
Yeah.
So instead of realizing like, okay, maybe we turn more towards health and whatnot. So even like with the food dyes and stuff that they said are not happening, it's just a consideration that they would like the companies to have, not an actual mandate. So a lot of things are being cut that could potentially improve our health, which is contradictory to what was promoted. And I want full transparency. I did not very much dive into this election for president, meaning I didn't vote for either one of them. And some people see that as a shame against women. Some people see that as a shame against my rights to vote. But it was honestly, truly because of my own personal beliefs, and not like anything against women. But I just felt like Kamala Harris really wasn't a stellar pick for a lot of reasons. And I honestly, there was no, and my default was like, well, I'm not going to vote for Trump. So like, and it also was just because I'm not voting for Trump doesn't mean I felt confident in her either. So what this administration is doing, which I think a lot of people would support, is saying we need to cut the government spending because we do run in a deficit. Absolutely support that. But then go to the actual places that do run in that deficit and add to that trillions. When they cut these women's health initiatives and whatnot, so what that turns out to be is a trickle effect. So a lot of fundings go away. And a lot of funding goes to universities. A lot of funding goes to other practices. But
a lot of fundings go to contracts for multiple
a lot of contracts. Yeah. So it's, there's a lot of funding going, right? But I think they're going with a sledgehammer when they probably should have used a chisel. And it's unfortunate. I think it's really unfortunate because
the people, it's the communities that they're choosing to cut from.
Yes.
Which is, to me, very targeted.
Well, it's like kind of saying we want more women to have. So it's actually, this is really interesting because my news people that I listen to did a segment on this. They want more women to have children, right? Because what's it called?
Roe v. Wade?
No. Well, like
Wade was
like the amount of people, there's a lot of older people and there's not enough younger people to care for those people. So a lot of societies are going to have a huge burden because not enough younger people are working to play into the government funds that help the older generations like Social Security and whatnot. Okay. So they want more people to have children because they believe in family values. Great. I support that. I mean, if people want to have children, great. If they want to have more children because they want to, great. But because they want to. But actually studies have shown that people don't have more children just because of like this, how the society is built on. So even like these other countries that have given income or additional like tax breaks or something like that to people who have had more children, it doesn't promote people giving more children.
Yeah.
Because the society is not really set up for that anymore. Like it's like their childcare is very expensive.
Yeah.
Right. So, okay. Now I have to send 2, 3, 4 kids to childcare. Okay. Our school systems run on this asinine schedule. Like school starts and it goes from like 9 to 3, right? Okay, well, when do parents work? Like 8 to 5,
right?
So now I need school care and after school care. And so when they're cutting funds like the Women's Health Initiative that looks so much into the women's projects and like how women came to be, because so much of our studies have come from male focus.
Women were just
added in assuming that we are the same. Yeah, and assuming that we're the same. It doesn't, apples don't equal apples. Yes, we're all pies, so we're all humans, but there's blueberry pies, raspberry pies, there's different kinds. And different races have different traits associated with them. That's really important. And, so Black and brown females actually experience menopause symptoms sooner and more severe, and they're often more ignored.
Right. Hey, YouTube, today's giveaway, yes, we're starting this, is the Self-Mastery Method, which is a self-led program on my mindset method. All you have to do is comment below on this podcast, and we are going to randomly select the winner, and you will get access to that program for 4 months and be able to work through the entire method and join along with all that we do. Now, back to the show.
So it's kind of like, well, that's really important to know. And a lot of providers don't know that. And a lot of providers, even I was listening to a podcast on the way here, this gal had gone to a provider and she's like, I need some help mentally. And they were like, oh, it's fine. You just need to like get your situation a little bit better. And it's like, okay, well, no, like she needs help. Like, and she's asking for help. And I feel like more women are going to are not going to go to get help anymore.
Right.
Because there is no help.
There is no help.
Yeah.
Well, it's interesting too that you say that with my continuing education that I had just finished. The last part too was on oppression. And if you're Black or brown and considered overweight or obese, you're fucked because the medical industry isn't set up to understand that not every person who's in a larger body is unhealthy and needs to just lose weight.
Right.
But also if you are Black or brown, you're just considered less educated or knowledgeable, and you just need to calm down because you're an angry, I'll use myself, Hispanic woman. And that is already an issue with the initiatives in place.
Right.
So we take those away. What happens to women's health care? We're going to see either one or two things. We're going to revolt. I don't know how we haven't fucking.
See, this is where I kind of don't sound very pro woman, because I've revolted several times. I've gone to numerous women's marches throughout, like here and in Texas. Nothing came of it. Right.
No,
and that's where I'm kind of like, okay, so what do we do? You know, like if you don't hear us like marching in the streets, like what's our next step? Okay, so now you need to run for office. Okay, that's very expensive. It takes a lot of time. And honestly, like our legislators that are in the state government, they don't like really get paid for that.
Right.
So that's where it comes into like, okay, well, now they have all of a sudden these like kind of side things. And then they're walking out being millionaires when the job pays you 50 grand a year, maybe. So like, how does that math?
Right. Well, in my brain, we have to figure out a way to like support each other.
Yes.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So obviously people in legislation that we are behind, women businesses, female-owned businesses, obviously those who are pioneers or in the front lines of the, whether it's healthcare, whatever it is. And we need to just shift and be like, no, fuck this. Like this is the second attack on us. Like, what's the third? What we're going to lose our right to vote now too? Like, I mean,
or to have a credit card or buy a house independently.
Yeah. I mean, that was what in the 90s too. And that was
80s, I think,
something that our mothers could do. This topic was not going to come up, but I think it's something we as a female owned business, female driven podcast need to talk about because whether you're a Republican, Democrat, independent, nothing, neither of the above or none of the above, your health and your daughter's health and your lineage after that depends on this.
Yeah.
And
I just think of like how hospital outcomes with Black and brown as well. Like they have like with giving birth and whatnot.
Oh, I don't know that.
Oh, really? So Black and brown have worse birth outcomes typically in the healthcare system. And whether that's because of lack of, information, lack of prenatal care, but then that kind of goes into like, okay, well, where do they live? What are their standards of living? What are their access to care? Are they working 3 jobs while they're pregnant? Like, so when would they get care?
Right.
And so it's kind of it's always, unfortunately, I feel like sometimes when it's talked about, it's just such a one-sided thing. Like this is all we talk about let's equate it to the business, right? You just need to lose weight. It's like, okay, they physically can't because they can't wrap their mind around the belief that they can truly feel better in their body. So why should they deserve to lose weight or work on their health and feel better?
Right.
Like there's so much more context to that. And then taking into consideration, like going back to the health of like lower income socioeconomic status is food deserts, right? So like there are places in the United States that literally don't have a grocery store within a certain amount of radius, but there is McDonald's, there is Taco Bell, there is Jack in the Box, there is whatever fast food restaurant. So where are people going to go? Right. They're going to go there because they also don't understand that cooking can be initially like more expensive, but it's not because of the cost on your health.
Right.
And so,
well, I would say there is a way to prepare meals for your family that are way more cost effective than.
Oh, yes. But they don't know that.
Right.
And then there's your lack of education. Right. So then it perpetuates like, well, if they don't know that, then yeah, they are lack of education. But okay, so now they're going into the healthcare system, right? Because now they're getting pregnant or experiencing menopause. But they're obviously less educated. Doctor is obviously pretty educated, right?
Mm-hmm.
They have a pretty advanced degree. So now you've got this kind of difference in culture, difference in education level, difference in life circumstances, as well as differences in experiences that play onto that person.
Right. Well, and I was talking to a physician at the event this weekend, and we were talking about this we're talking more about the medical field and the lack of education around movement and nutrition.
Yeah.
Right. Whereas people will say, oh, well, my doctor said.
Oh, yeah.
And it'll be some ridiculous diet that is only, what research shows is only going to keep people stuck and sick, which I don't know if the doctors do that on purpose because they need people to stay stuck and sick, or they literally just don't have the education in that.
I think that goes back to, I don't think they have the education, but I also don't think they have the billing availability, meaning
I get that.
They don't get billed based on time. They get billed based on visits. And so if I see which
again isn't
your insurance based, right, your insurance based system, if I see 20 people that day, I get paid for 20 people. If I see 5 people that day, I only get paid for 5.
Right.
But my outcomes for those 5 might be much better than my 20.
Right.
That doesn't matter on a business aspect.
Which is ridiculous.
And so that's where I'm kind of like, yes, but then that needs to change too. But that's a whole insurance thing and contracting thing.
Well, what we need to do as women is, like I said, support those like Dr. Mary Claire Haver, who is out there, who is educated. I mean, the questions, you guys, of people, of the physicians, like, how do I get that much protein in?
Really?
Yeah. A lot of it was around HRT and the World Health, what was it? The Women's Health Initiative from like the 90s.
The cancer, or not
the one that,
where they have cancer.
Yeah.
They get estrogen or something.
Age of the participants was 62, right, which is postmenopause versus perimenopause, and what that looks like. So there was questions about that, but even just the lack of knowledge in your lifestyle changes was insane. But what I would like our listeners to do is obviously continue to follow people like Dr. Sims, Dr. Haver. There's Annie, what's her name?
Annie Leibowitz or whatever?
No.
Leibowitz?
No, I'll have to look it up. And then I wrote it down on my notes, so I'll put them all in the chat or in the show notes. Do you have anyone that stands out to you that if we can't rely on our government, so we have to rely on those?
I like, so for like prenatal and postpartum stuff is Emily Oster of looking at the actual studies and how that relates to parents and families and whatnot. And then I also like Lily Nichols a lot. So, it's funny because remember I was talking shit on that dietitian a couple of weeks ago.
Yeah.
So she had posted something on her Instagram of like how protein is essentially a trend right now. And I wanted to pop off and I wanted to be like, what, like, where are you? I know, I know this is coming from evidence that you have gathered, but like, I wanted to be like, what do you think of Lily Nichols then? Like, what is like what she's saying? Because so she actually, I think it was maybe it was Hungary or Croatia, some country based off, changed their standards of like nutrition based off of her research and whatnot. And now they're having better outcomes with their prenatal clients or patients or citizens rather. So like, why, if this gal is saying for fertility to pregnancy, we need higher protein, higher fats, like we need to minimize carb intake. And when we do take in carbs, they need to be like not highly processed, like whole dense carbs. Like
no naked carbs.
Yeah, no naked carbs. Like, why is what she's saying wrong? And why is what you're saying is so right? And also going back to like, but most women are not getting 80 to 100 grams of protein per day, like even that. So for you to be like, protein's a trend, like then educate on that end, you know? And so I like Emily Oster and I like Lily Nichols. I like, I'm trying to think of a couple others that aren't coming to, there's a Ryan Kippingling. I can't, she's the prenatal nutritionist. She's on Instagram as well. She's got some great stuff too.
That's interesting you say that about protein because all Dr. Haver So she focused on osteoporosis, osteopenia, sarcopenia, metabolic adaptation, cardiovascular disease, dementia, and I'm just going to say those 5. There was a 6th. Every single one of them was adequate protein and not what the FDA says. 1.6 to 1.8 kilograms of protein per body weight is the adequate amount for a woman in perimenopause or postmenopause.
Which would be above what it's recommended right now.
Absolutely.
So
that girl's an idiot. Yeah. So we were going to talk about something else today, but
we didn't.
We're talking about your health. This is the second time we've had to have it. We've only been a podcast for 1 year, and we have had to have 2 conversations about threats to women's health.
Mm-hmm.
And now just we took a little pause. Now the administration is saying that they're going to restore the health funding.
Yeah. I haven't listened to my news yet. So
yeah, saved 3 hours ago. Landmark Women's Health Fund study saved from funding accounts. Saved.
Let me ask
as if this is a fucking like.
So I want to ask you, the government, let's say what you would hope for. 3 things, plain and simple. So like they're going to do a PSA through social media, billboards, TV interviews, all that kind of stuff. Like what are your 3 topics you want them to promote?
You're not crazy.
Okay.
Your emotions are like your mental health is valid, that your mental health is the biggest aspect of your physiological concerns, of your relational concerns, of your obviously mental and emotional concerns. Women's mental health is going to look a lot different than men's, but for us, it's always considered we're, as Dr. Haver said, oh, she's a WW, a whiny woman.
Oh,
when a woman would come in with her, because the first thing for women in perimenopause, the first change that often is felt is heightened anxiety, irritability, mood swings, and depression before anything else. But it's just with adding in HRT or MHT, she calls it MHT, menopause health, or menopause hormone therapy before an SSRI reduces those mental health struggles. But beyond postmenopause, like mental health needs to be the thing that they promote on the billboards. Strength training for women, not for aesthetics, for longevity. And I would want them to go to have a marketing campaign that attacks the diet industry and diet culture.
Get this, there is weight loss when you're pregnant right now happening.
Oh my God.
I know. I about lost my shit.
What?
And it's one of the girls that's like that I got sent the stuff on. I'm like, she doesn't need to lose weight. Like, so if she's saying that, then people who are in larger bodies or smaller bodies or equal bodies, like, what is that telling them? And she's talking about how to lose weight while you're pregnant.
That's insane.
I know.
What does the comment say?
Like, oh, this is great.
Oh,
I know. It's fucked.
It is.
It was like, what the fuck is happening? Like, why the fuck in the whole world would you think that is completely acceptable?
Yeah. So we're going to call her out. Her name is Michelle Marie, fit pregnancy and postpartum coach. It's not too late. Have you tried this? Wish you could slow down your weight gain in pregnancy. You think you can't lose weight while pregnant? 3 secrets to controlling pregnancy weight gain. Well,
fuck you.
Yeah. This is the shit, you guys. This is the shit. Look at this. 19,000 followers. Now I'm in my thriving era, and I'm trying not to talk shit about people.
I'll talk shit about them.
But that is, for me, that is doing harm
so much. Like, it makes me want to cry.
Yeah.
Like, thinking, like, look, it's like, she goes, what does losing weight during pregnancy actually mean? Like, but she's like playing on your insecurity of gaining weight. And like, because so many women are like, I don't want to gain weight during pregnancy. And it's like, well, you will.
Right.
Like, and part of it has nothing to do with you eating more.
Right.
Like, it's literally like, okay, so your baby's, we'll say 6 to 8 pounds. 6 to 8 pounds of that weight gain is just your fucking baby. Plus your placenta, plus you have more blood throughout your system, plus you literally grow another organ. Like, hello.
Right. I'm wondering if her like spiel is just making sure that people are eating the right foods and stuff like that, instead of like trying to, and that they're not eating for two. And she might just be using it as clickbait to get that message out.
I doubt it, because here's how I kept pregnancy weight gain under 30 pounds, lost it all by my 6-week checkup, and had a fast labor.
Wow.
Like,
this is why we need health initiatives for women, so that, okay, let me look this up.
Okay.
I don't know how this podcast is going to sound to you guys, but let's just fucking go with it. So first time we've done this.
So many people like, cause of course she has like comment this to figure out how, and it's all these like comments of like,
you should, you know what you need to do?
What?
Go and follow all those people so that they see your page.
You think so?
Yep. That's what I do. Whenever I see some bullshit, I just follow those people and hope that they follow me back. Unless you're in early pregnancy, it's not safe to lose weight while pregnant. If you're losing weight or dieting, you may miss the opportunity for nutrients you need for a healthy pregnancy. No matter how much you weigh, it's not safe to lose weight while pregnant. The one exception is this in early weeks of pregnancy. The effect of a mom's weight gain or loss on her pregnancy, on her baby during pregnancy, is a complicated issue that experts continue to study. But we know that losing weight during pregnancy isn't compatible with growing a healthy baby. And if you're losing weight and may not be getting all of the calories and nutrients for a healthy pregnancy, while being overweight or obese during pregnancy increase your risks of some pregnancy complications, losing weight during pregnancy puts you at a risk of having a baby who is too small for gestational age, or SGA, and for preterm birth. What if I lose weight in early pregnancy? Whatever. So if you're following this chick,
don't.
She is wrong.
Yeah.
She is wrong. So we don't know what we're going to call this episode. We don't know if you're going to listen to the whole thing. But apparently since we've started, the administration has brought back the funding for women's health. So yeah, I don't know. I don't know how to feel. we're going to keep doing what we're doing and support women in the best ways we can. We're going to listen to you. We're going to listen to the person who's in front of us. The symptoms are in front of us. And I will say for myself, like, sometimes it takes time. That can take upwards of 6 months plus. Like, I have clients that have been with me for a while, and I'm still learning them and how their bodies respond to different things. So we're still going to do that. We're still going to advocate for you. We're still going to talk about these hard topics because it's important for us to ensure that what we present to you is backed by research. So even to do our job, if funding gets cut, we're reliant on outdated research.
Yeah.
So we weren't going to talk about this today, but here we are. We hope that you guys find this helpful. It can start a conversation. Maybe it starts you into a path of researching it yourself. And, you know, we want to just continue to support all women, no matter political party, whatever. We want to support all women and understand each of your own specific struggles, sociocultural struggles, and beyond. So that's that. What would you add? You're like our political analyst.
I know. I'm sorry. And
no,
it's biased, obviously. I don't say I'm Republican or Democrat. I would say I'm almost more libertarian at this point. What I would say is focus on what you can do. As Christine says, what are your controllables? What is outside of your scope? And just like if you live in a food desert, maybe we say, okay, I'm going to get some sunlight then. Right. If we live in a high, fast-paced society, which you do, most of us do, maybe we say, I'm going to take 5 minutes today to just sit and relax without guilt, without shame. There's nothing more important that you can do for your health long-term is taking care of yourself. And especially if you're going into pregnancy, to consider what would you want your son or daughter to be taken care of, and how can you do that for yourself. Right. So that's all.
Good.
Okay.
Well, if that you're new to this podcast, that never happens, or we just start. It happened twice. We started talking about,
and we're like,
we'll just keep talking. We'll just keep talking, and that was raw and nitty and gritty and not pretty, and we don't give a fuck. So, if you do, this is not the podcast for you. At least this episode. For those of you who are like, yes, love that. Love just kind of hearing you guys pop off. We'd love a 5-star rating and review. If you haven't already, make sure you have hit that subscribe or follow button wherever you're listening or watching our pretty faces. And we are going to tell you, the administration, and everyone else in this world this one last thing.
What you say in the mind.
You see in the mirror. Goodbye.